Ever wish building a website was easier, that you didn't have to go back and forth with your developer 10 times for every little edit? What if I told you that AI can now do that for you? The term is called vibe coding. Maybe you've heard this term before, maybe you're aware of it, and you've thought, oh no, that's for techies, that's for developers. Well, I'm hoping today to change your mind. And one of the main reasons I'm covering this today is that HighLevel just released its own vibe coder right within the platform. This means that if you have HighLevel or you would like to test it for free, you can vibe code within the system and it's already connected to everything you have, or at least it will be soon. One of the caveats to this is that this vibe code builder called AI Studio is currently in beta, which means there might be some quirks and tweaks. However, it also means that it's free to use. So if you're already a HighLevel user, you will want to turn this on in labs or ask your agency owner to turn it on in labs for you. If you're not already a HighLevel user, I have a 30-day free trial right down in the description for you. Grab that link, you'll get our bonuses, tutorials, snapshots, different things that will help you get started. And while this vibe coder is in beta, it is free to use, so there's no better time. So today's video is about how to make vibe coding accessible, how to use this term and this concept and what it really means. And vibe coding is really just talking to AI just like you would talk to any large language model, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, any of them, and then it builds the website for you. Any edits you want from there on out, you just talk to it. You just tell it what you want. There are other programs that do this. One in particular is called Lovable, and that's the one that I've played with before. So I am going to do one versus the other, keeping in mind again that AI Studio is still in beta, but Lovable is well built. So in theory, it should do a better job, but we're going to test that today. And I have a real use case. My last video was all about AEO and SEO strategies and best practices. And part of that, I had mentioned I was going to have a checklist for everyone. This is a great example of when vibe coding can come in handy. Instead of a traditional PDF checklist or a web page, why not build what we're now calling an app, an interactive process that will analyze web pages? That is my goal today. My goal is to build a page analyzer that goes right along with the last video I did. So if you're curious about SEO and AEO, go check out the last video. But I hope that that also gave you a good idea about something you might now be able to build. If you have a lead magnet, a calculator, any sort of analyzing tools, these are really good use cases for vibe coding, as well as just regular landing pages, web pages, anything else you can think of. Let's jump in and I'm going to show you exactly how I've been vibe coding. This is the type of vibe coding that anyone can do, and I'll show you what I mean. If you're not already familiar, this here, Marketex Engine, our version of HighLevel. AI Studio here on the left-hand side is in beta, so if it's not turned on in your account, you will have to go to the agency or ask your agency to turn this on in labs in order to play with it. But when I click on this, I'm waiting to click on it because I want to show you that the screen is going to change. It's going to look like we're leaving HighLevel, but we're not. It is still connected. But I'm going to go ahead and click on the AI Studio. And now you can see I'm in this vibe code screen. And you can see I've not played a lot with this yet. I did one little test page so far. Now, the other tool I'm going to use is called Lovable. It's similar. You just talk to it and you can create a free account in Lovable. I actually have a free account. I only have 5 credits per day. So we're going to test here and see if we can actually build this on that free level. In addition to these 2 tools that I'm testing, and you don't need both, you can just pick one, I am also going to incorporate ChatGPT or Claude to help me with my prompting. And not everybody needs this. If you're an amazing prompter, you could start building right in here. Or with your free credit level at the moment inside of HighLevel, you wouldn't necessarily need this either. But I'm incorporating this step because I think it's important for people that are maybe a little bit newer to this or haven't done a lot of prompting, this is the step that I would recommend. I would recommend that you choose whatever large language model you typically interact with and start there in terms of helping you build a prompt that's going to work better. So I have two options here. I can use ChatGPT or I can use Claude, and I've loaded them both up with an introductory to what I'm trying to build. And in both of these systems, I do have a project built for my company, and you're seeing the sources behind my project. My project has my ideal client profiles, some AEO best practices, positioning and benefits for my company, and then just some other instructions on how I typically write. I do recommend building those projects for you, not just for this purpose, but for anything that you're doing anytime you're talking to ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, any of them. I have a similar project built out in both systems, and I'm actually going to use both of these here too. So I'm testing 4 different things, and you can pick which ones you like better. I did upload this cheat sheet that I had for SEO and AEO and the list of things that I want it to look for. And I just said, I need a prompt to vibe code a web page building a tool like Lovable or AI Studio. This should be interactive. It should be an analyzer. After analyzing, the user should get the overall score only, with the option of a full breakdown of the entire analysis after entering their name and email. So this is a lead magnet that I'm looking for, to be clear. This page should align with Marketect's branding and speak directly to our ideal client. Now, if you don't have your ideal clients loaded on the back end of a project, you'll want to describe your ideal client here as well. And then this is key when prompting. You want to end with, what questions do you have for me before building this? Otherwise, sometimes AI, especially ChatGPT, will jump right in. Claude's a little better at asking questions. And I will say Claude has been my go-to for writing content lately, but ChatGPT often writes better image prompts. So for this use, that's part of the reason I'm using both, is because I'm not sure which one's going to do a better job. Let's go ahead and hit run. I've put the exact same prompt into both of these, and we're going to see what we get. I'm getting some questions from both of them, and I'm going to review these questions and answer them. I've taken the time to go through all of the questions and answer all of these. And what I noticed was that both of them had very similar questions, but ChatGPT had a few extra. So I am curious to see how that turns out in our prompt. Now, they were asking things like, what should happen? What should the interactivity be? Where should the data be sent? What should be displayed? The general tone of this tool. And you can see here that I just numbered them, went right down and answered very briefly. And I am going to go ahead and submit my answers. And maybe I'll actually have to test both of these prompts. I was planning on just picking one, but now I'm actually wondering. Upon submitting my answers, Claude asked 5 more questions where ChatGPT assumed some answers and built out the prompt. I'm going to take a quick look at Claude's questions and see the direction. I reviewed Claude's additional questions, answered them briefly, and now we'll submit those. Going back to ChatGPT, I noticed that it gave me a prompt. It does recommend that I do different prompts for different platforms, but again, for the use case today, I am going to copy this and get started. Let's go ahead and dump this prompt in to both accounts and see what happens. I'm interrupting this video to make sure that there is no confusion about HighLevel or about how to work with me. If you want to try HighLevel but don't want to waste months trying to figure it out, I have 2 very clear options for you to consider. If you're looking to build an agency or a SaaS business, head over to marketex.com/HighLevel. By using our affiliate link, which costs you nothing, you will get the following bonuses. Our Marketex Engine Core Snapshot. This is all of the features that we install in every new Marketex Engine user account, and we're giving it to you for free as an affiliate. Our onboarding guides and access to our private community. An invitation to join our weekly live office hours, where I personally will answer questions and even share tips that I've learned throughout the week. And I'm constantly learning. There is so many new features and things to learn in this industry as a whole, not to mention within the HighLevel platform. Plus, we'll give you our additional templates, checklists, and migration guide. That's option number 1. Option 2 is if you are a business owner just looking to improve your own tech stack and you don't want to do it alone. You would like a trusted strategic partner in your corner that speaks the language, brings you time-tested automations, proven strategies, and up-to-date learning. Then go to marketexengine.com and book a consultation with me to learn more about our high-level agency, Marketex Engine, and joining our ecosystem. I'm also currently offering discounts on one-on-one consulting to any of our affiliates and high-level users. So whether you're building an agency or building a business, pick your path and let's drive results. Now, back to your regularly scheduled programming. Both page builders are getting to work. You can see here what the AI Studio is building and how it's reviewing things. And if we're looking over at Lovable, we can see that it is also reviewing scope and signals. Let's go back and check on our prompt from Claude. Claude actually had yet another question for me, so we'll submit that and see how we go. Checking on our progress. Right now, I am running 3 different AI tools at once. But honestly, these are simple tools. All I had to do was answer questions, type in what I was looking for, and I am doing twice as much as what any business needs to do. And I am doing this so that you can pick the tools you want to use, so that you don't have to do this on 4 different platforms. You can see what I put in. Notice that maybe you like how quick ChatGPT did it versus all the questions that Claude asked. But maybe at the end, when we put in the Claude prompt, we'll notice that it worked better. Now we're going to let all of this bake for a minute and see what comes out. I actually stepped away for a couple of minutes and let AI do its thing, and you'll notice that Claude gave us a prompt, and I can copy this. Going back to what my other builders are doing, AI Studio inside of HighLevel is still hard at work. You can see it's generating content, it's doing stuff. While these are still busy building our websites on the back end, I wanted to talk about why you might choose HighLevel or Lovable. Currently, Lovable has more capabilities, and even as we were working with Claude and ChatGPT to build our prompts, that issue came up. Lovable is a well-oiled machine at this point. However, if you want it to connect to your CRM, there are going to be extra steps you're going to have to take when you're building out these web pages. You're going to have to connect APIs, you're going to have to do some different things there and take some actions. That came up when we were doing our prompting, when it was asking, where do you want this information to go? Because it will be different depending on which platform you choose. That is the benefit of choosing HighLevel. Even though the builder is still a work in progress, already you can connect it to your CRM so that when you build that page, you can say, take these actions. When somebody fills out this form, add them to the CRM and tag them this way. Those already exist. Even though it's still in beta and even though it still has some quirks, my vote is for the builder inside of HighLevel, simply for ease of use and having everything in one place, no more logins and no more extra tools or systems. And they continue to build on these things. Now, one of the things that also HighLevel has is the ability to use AI in the web page builder. And that is further along than the vibe coder at this point. And it allows you to say, build a page, edit this parts of a page, and then afterwards you can go in and click on things and change them. For someone like myself who's accustomed to building web pages, sometimes I prefer this versus having to talk to it and tell it everything I want to do. But I can see where the average business owner, someone who really just wants to hire a web designer, would prefer the vibe code builder, where they can just tell it what to do and it does it, like talking to your web developer or your marketing person. You can just say, make it look this way. That's the whole point of vibe coders, being able to just prompt something as long as you can actually put all the details in that prompt. And again, that's why I started with Claude and with ChatGPT, building my prompts to make sure I wasn't missing anything that would cost me credits when I went to build. Because Claude and ChatGPT usually work on a set price, a lot of times it's cheaper to iterate on an idea with them and then transfer that request into something like a vibe code builder. When you looked at Lovable, I only have 5 credits a day on my free account. So I really don't want to spend the credits going back and forth with the AI if I haven't flushed my idea out fully. Using that chat makes sense as far as getting the idea out and then asking AI to build it. Doing a quick check, Lovable is still working on our page, and so is AI Studio. You can see that these are going to take a few minutes to work, but while these are building your pages, you can go work on something else. So I heard a little noise. I came over and I had an alert that something went wrong in AI Studio, and I actually had to hit retry. This may slow down the head-to-head comparison, but it looks like both are still working, and we're probably about 5 minutes into this process. You can see that Lovable has used a couple of my credits. I have 4.10 credits remaining. Very curious to see how many credits it uses for this. It looks like Lovable came back with some options first. It says it has built some things out, some design items. I do have an error message here though, and apparently I hit my daily credit limit as I was suspecting. I stepped away to upgrade and add some credits to Lovable so that I could continue this process. And as you can see, Lovable created me a page that basically gives all of the information here. And there were some disclaimers, which is something that Claude did not ask about and ChatGPT did. So this is what the page looks like in Lovable. Now, HighLevel also completed the process, and we can take a look at what the page looks like here in HighLevel. Out of the gate, I'm actually surprised to say I think I prefer the page built by HighLevel. I really was expecting to like this page done by Lovable a little bit better. It's a little more in depth. It just doesn't grab me as quickly, and I haven't read through all the content. Now there is a bunch of stuff I would have to do with Lovable in terms of webhooks and adding the tag and all of that stuff in order to actually connect this process. That's the piece that I was talking about why I might move over to the HighLevel builder, is that if it can get even close to what Lovable does and it's already connected, that's of huge value to me. Over here, I am actually just going to hit connect to the CRM. And now it's basically going to go ahead and do that instead of having to go through all that webhook process. But while it's doing that, I'm going to close that side panel there, and let's just take a look at this page builder. Very interesting. All right, it tells me what it's checking. It tells me how it works. And then I can also book a manual review if I want to. And it did also include the disclaimers. And let's take a little deeper dive look into what Lovable gave us. I can analyze my page. That button color is really weak, but that's okay. That can always be changed by just giving it the actual color code that I want right here in the prompt. It does tell me what it's checking, tells me how it works. So that's two different interpretations. This is an interpretation of what this tool checks and how it works. This is breaking it down into two different sections on the page versus this page builder did it as two different lists, a more consolidated view there. Then you can see book a manual review or learn more about Marketex. You kind of want one call to action. Even here we have two. We have analyze my page or book a manual review. A third call to action on there about learning more about Marketex might actually not be something that we want. All right, let's double check our side panel here. We are connected to 10 tools in our CRM. So this says we have connected to the lead capture tracking. The form now sends and submits to, okay. Very interesting. And then it gives me some options here for additional things that I might want. Let's give both of these a quick test. Let's just put in our website. And we actually got an error message. Let's see what this one does. This might be some of the capability statements that we were seeing, but let's see how this works. I kind of like how this is showing me what's going on. So there's a few more things I'm going to have to build out on the back end in order to make this functional. But I think overall, you can see that for a page design, either one of these works. So you may remember when I was building my prompt, I was building two versions, one in ChatGPT and one in Claude, just to see if there was a major difference. The first version of the pages was with the ChatGPT prompt. So I came back in, grabbed the Claude prompt, and just redid the process exactly as I did before. And here's what I got in Lovable. Much shorter page, definitely a difference in the prompt and the output. And the branding is way off. I would have to iterate on this one if I was going to go with Lovable. And then here's what AI Studio built in HighLevel. I like the looks of this page much better, which honestly is surprising me because we're still in beta. But as of today, I really like the look and feel. It's getting my tone down a little bit better. Now, functionality wise, I still have some work to do, but I just wanted to show you the difference in the prompt. And these are very different prompts. The other pages were much more involved than what I got with the Claude prompts. For some reason, I tend to do a little bit better with the ChatGPT prompts. I also don't hit my credit limits as quickly in ChatGPT. And maybe part of the output is because I've been using that a little bit longer. I hope this process today gave you more confidence around web building, gave you an understanding of what vibe coding is. A lot of it's really just sitting around and waiting for the computer and the robots to do their jobs. If you can describe what you want in plain language or even work with AI to help iterate on what you want in plain language, you can now build web pages and functionality into your web pages. I encourage you to get started and try this for free today. As I mentioned down in the description, I have a link to join HighLevel for 30 days. And right now, the AI Studio vibe building app that I just demoed for you is completely free to try. So build a few things, see what happens, and keep iterating on them. And if you'd prefer to try Lovable, you can jump in there for free as well. I have a link for that too. And by using my affiliate links, basically you're thanking me for making this video today and helping me with the video budgets to continue making tutorials. That said, I hope you will leave a comment for anything you have questions on. Let me know if there's something that you'd like to know in more detail. I'm happy to do more tutorials on anything that I receive comments for. As well as if I get 100 likes on this video, I'll do a live page builder demo where I'll answer questions and we'll build things out together. So if that's of interest to you, make sure you hit like and, of course, subscribe. Thanks.